In today's lecture, we are going to discuss about harmonic oscillator. Simple harmonic motion is the back and forth motion along the same path in which the displacement from an equilibrium position varies periodically with time. It is a back and forth motion. That is one thing that is very important. Displacement from the equilibrium position varies with time. It has fixed time period. Only when it is a fixed time period you call this as harmonic oscillator. Simple harmonic motion is the back and forth motion along the same path in which the displacement from an equilibrium position varies periodically with time. It has fixed time period and amplitude. Now we are going to look at examples for simple harmonic motion. A pendulum swinging through a small angle. Consider a pendulum, and suppose it moves through a small angle in this direction. From here it moves to this position, and once again it gets back to this position, and this is one complete oscillation. And this is the equilibrium position. The central position is the equilibrium position. This is the displacement, and the displacement is constant, follows the same path. This is the path that is followed by the pendulum, and it's a fixed time period. Only then the pendulum clock will show the right time. Let's say a mass attached to weightless spring restricted to move along the same path. You cannot have a weightless spring in practice. Even the lightest spring will have some weight. And if you consider a weightless spring like this, when it stretches, this will become something like this, and it will come back to this original position like this, and during this period of compression and stretching there will be an equilibrium position in between it, and that is a simple harmonic motion. Let's say atoms in a molecule execute vibratory or oscillatory motion along a bond in which bonding changing periodically. Suppose you have an atom A and atom B joined together by a bond. When the bond vibrates, the length of AB may increase and the length of AB may decrease. This is stretching, this is compression, and this vibration motion along the bond leads to change in bond length, and this also is an example for simple harmonic motion. So to sum up, simple harmonic motion is a back and forth motion. The pendulum moving this way, that way, this way, that way. Spring stretching, compressing, stretching, compressing. The bond stretching and compressing during a vibration. So back and forth motion along the same path in which the displacement from equilibrium position varies periodically with time. This is the displacement here from this position to this position. This is the displacement, and suppose this is the equilibrium position. This is the equilibrium position. This will be the displacement here from the equilibrium position, and displacement from the equilibrium position varies periodically with time. It has a fixed time period and amplitude. That means the vibration change, the displacement occurs at regular time intervals. Any system that is undergoing simple harmonic motion constitutes an harmonic oscillator. The potential energy for such an harmonic oscillator is given by the formula half k square, where k is the force constant and x is the displacement from equilibrium position. When you say displacement from equilibrium position, what we mean is, if we consider the case of a bond, it is this distance that we mean by displacement. And next we come to the frequency of oscillation, number of oscillations per second. Number of oscillations per second is equal to nu. This is given by the symbol nu is equal to 1 by 2 pi root k by m, where k is the force constant as we have described earlier, m is the mass of the particle. M is the mass of the particle. Now we need an expression for k out of this, so you have to rearrange this equation, square on both the sides. This will become nu square, this will become 2 square, 4, this will become pi square, 4 pi square, and the square root will go, and this will become k by m. And now we need an expression for k to be substituted in equation 1. So we need k. So take the 4 pi square m to the other side. So k will be equal to 4 pi square nu square m. This is equation 3. That gives a value of the force constant. Substitute 3 in 1 instead of k, and you will get potential energy of oscillation is equal to half k square. Instead of k, substitute 4 pi square nu square m, and you will have half 4 pi square nu square m. This is the factor which we call as k, and a square, k square. 2 and 4 and 2 will cancel, and it will become 2 pi square nu square ms square. This is equation 4. This is equation 4. This is the potential energy of oscillation. Now we are going to go to the kinetic energy part, and when we go to the kinetic energy part, remember the atoms are moving. That means it will associate with any moving particle, you will have a kinetic energy. Pendulum is moving, the spring is moving. That means there will be a kinetic energy factor, and if you take the kinetic energy part, the term is the usual term for particle near one-dimensional box, where you will get minus s square by 8 pi square m d square by ds square, minus s square by 8 pi square m d square by d square. This is for kinetic energy. Earlier we have written a term for potential energy. Now we have to have an operator for the total energy. The operator term for the total energy will be the sum of the potential energy term and the kinetic energy term, minus a square by 8 pi square m d square by ds square, which is for kinetic energy. 2 pi square nu square ms square is for potential energy, and add them together, we will get the equation 7. Hamiltonian is equal to minus a square by 8 pi square m d square by ds square plus 2 pi square nu square ms square. Having got the Hamiltonian, the next step is to substitute the Hamiltonian in the Schrodinger equation, S psi equal to E psi. Substitute equation 7 in 8, we will get minus s square instead of Hamiltonian, substituted minus s square by 8 pi square m d square by ds square plus 2 pi square nu square ms square. Psi is equal to E psi. Okay, now the next thing we have to do is take this second term in the left hand side to the right hand side. Common to both these terms is psi. Minus s square by 8 pi square m d square psi by ds square is equal to E psi minus 2 pi square nu square ms square psi, taking the psi common. Now you take the minus s square by 8 pi square m to the right hand side, from the right hand side to the left hand side, this minus will become plus, and so d square psi by d square plus 8 pi square m by s square into E minus 2 pi square nu square ms square psi equal to 0. Now you expand this term like what I have mentioned previously. Multiply this by this and this by this, and you will get something like this: 8 pi square me by s square, 8 pi square m by s square into 2 pi square nu square ms square psi equal to 0. Now the second term, here you have 8, multiply these two, you will get 8 into 2, 16, pi square into pi square, pi power 4, m into m square by s square. Apart from that you have x square, and so you will get psi is still kept common. And now you can rewrite this something like this. Now you can check in the reverse. It is here, the whole 4 pi square m nu by h the whole square, that means 4 square is 16, pi square square is pi power 4, m square, this is nu square, this is h square, and so what we have written here is understandable. Now what you are going to do next is take the whole of this first term as alpha and the second term as beta. Beta is equal to 4 pi square m nu by h. Then this will become alpha minus 4 pi square m nu by h the whole square. So it will become beta square s square psi equal to 0. Doing this substitutions, alpha is equal to 8 pi square me by s square and beta is equal to 4 pi square m nu by h. We get d square psi by ds square is equal to alpha, instead of 8 pi square me by s square you have alpha minus beta square s square. Instead of 4 pi square m nu by h you are going to have beta square s square psi equal to 0. Now you are going to change the variable. How you are going to change the variable is to convert it into a standard form of differential equation, for which we have a standard solution available. We convert it to a different variable using an equation y is equal to x root beta. If y is equal to x root beta, then what we will get? We will have dy is equal to dx root beta, and dx will be equal to, take root beta to the other side, we will have dy by beta. Dx is equal to dy by root beta. Now we have to make this substitution here. Instead of so since dx is equal to dy by root beta, ds square will be equal to dy square by root beta square. Root beta square is beta, so ds square will be equal to dy square by beta, and so we have something like this. Now apart from this, we also have, if you take d square psi by ds square, in the previous equation what you have is d, when I say previous equation, this is the equation 13, d square psi by ds square. So now what we will do is d square psi by ds square will be equal to, instead of ds square substitute dy square by beta, and so this beta will come to the top, beta into d square psi by dy square. This is what you will get. Now we have to make these substitutions in, now we rewrite equation 13. Equation 13 is d square psi by ds square plus alpha into beta square s square. This can be written in a slightly different fashion, that is beta into beta s square, beta into beta s square will be beta square s square. If you write like this, next thing is we are going to square 14. 14 is y is equal to root beta x, root beta into x. Squaring this, you will get y square is equal to beta s square. That is what I have written here. So instead of this beta s square, we will substitute y square, because y square is equal to beta s square. So this will become alpha minus beta y square. Instead of d square psi by ds square, we will substitute beta into d square psi by dy square. Making these two substitutions, instead of this, we will have this beta into d square psi by dy square. Instead of beta I square, we will have y square. We will get something like this. Now, we always maintain one particular a few things during any quantum mechanics derivation. The coefficient of the highest degree differential term d square psi by dy square should be 1. There should not be any coefficient. So divide equation 20 throughout by beta. This will become d square psi by dy square minus alpha minus beta y square by beta this by beta. This will become alpha by beta minus beta by beta is 1. Alpha by beta minus y square psi equal to 0, and you will get 21. Still it is not a standard form of integral. In order to get a standard form of integral, you make an approximation that you have two terms here, alpha by beta and y square, and you assume that y square is much larger than alpha by beta. And when y square is very much larger than alpha by beta, when you say that 2 is greater than 1, let's say 2 is just greater than 1, 2 is not very much greater than 1. Suppose you say 2 lakh, this is very much greater than 1. That is what we mean out of this. So when you say 2 lakh plus 1, that is just equivalent to 2 lakh, you can say. They did not make a big change. When you have 2 lakh rupees, so now if you add 1 rupee, it will not make a big change. Whereas if you have 2 plus 1, you cannot say that 2 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is definitely 3. So when you have y square very much greater than alpha by beta, only the larger term will remain, and so you will have d square psi by dy square minus y square. Alpha by beta will be neglected, and this is a standard form of equation for which a standard solution is available. Psi is equal to exponential plus or minus y square by 2. You have two solutions for it, so of plus y square by 2 and minus y square by 2. And if you take the case of plus y square by 2, when x tends to infinity, y will also tend to infinity, because y is equal to x into root beta. They are directly proportional, and so this will also tend to infinity. And when y tends to infinity, e power y square by 2 will become e power infinity, and this will become infinity. And infinity cannot be a solution, because wave function is known to be finite. An acceptable wave function is finite, continuous, and single value. So this solution is ruled out. So we have only one solution, that is a negative solution. E power plus y is not acceptable. Not acceptable since psi approaches infinity as y approaches infinity, and so there is only one solution, exponential minus y square by 2. But is this solution is the final solution? No, because this solution is applicable to only one condition, that psi square is very much greater than alpha by beta. This will not apply to any other condition, so we need a general solution. And of course this general solution should contain this solution also, and in addition there will be some other term, and this some other term is a function of y once again, which you don't know which function, which we are going to find out in the remaining part of this derivation. And so psi will be equal to f of y into e power minus y square by 2. Instead of writing f of y, f depends upon y, instead of writing f of y every time, we can just write psi is equal to f into exponential minus y square by 2. The next thing we have to do is, I will just tell you the place where we have to look into. This is equation 21. We need d square psi by dy square plus alpha by beta minus y square psi equal to 0. That is what we need. And when we say that this is what we need, what we need is d square psi by dy square plus alpha by beta minus y square psi equal to 0. For this we need two terms. One is d square psi by dy square. From what? From this. First we have to take d psi by dy, and then after that d square psi by dy square, and replace d square psi by dy square in terms of f and psi also in terms of f exponential minus y square by 2. So for that, first we have to do is find out d psi by dy. How it is determined? It is a function of two functions. This is u and this is v, and if you differentiate it, it will be u dv plus v du, and so keep exponential minus y square by 2 constant and differentiate f with respect to y, we will get df by dy. Next, keep f constant and differentiate exponential minus y square by 2 with respect to y. You get minus 2y by 2. In turn, it is minus y into exponential minus y square by 2 minus y into exponential minus y square by 2, and f is kept as a constant. So keep f as constant, differentiate s plus minus exponential minus y square by 2, keep exponential minus y square by 2 constant, differentiate 1. Now we have found out d psi by dy, but what do we need? We need d square psi by dy square. For that you have to differentiate once again. When you differentiate once again, how many terms? This is made up of 3 terms. F depends on y, and apart from this you will have y, you have e power minus y square by 2. This is something like uvw, and if you differentiate uvw, duvw will be the one of this constant du dvw plus v duw plus w duv. One of this is kept as constant, and the other two are differentiated together. So out of this you will get 3 terms, 1, 2, 3. Here you have 2 terms which depends upon y, df by dy and e power minus y square by 2, and you will get 2 terms out of it. Instead of 3 terms you will have it 2 terms out of it. If you do it, what you get is something like this. Have a look at it. In this first is we have kept as constant f and exponential minus y square by 2 and differentiated y with respect to y, and it becomes 1. The second term you have kept y as a constant, and exponential minus y square by 2 is also kept as a constant, and you have differentiated f, and this will become df by dy exponential. The third term you keep f and y as constant and differentiate this. If you differentiate this is good, you will get minus y exponential minus y square by 2. So minus y into minus fy together will give plus fy square exponential minus y square by 2. So you got 3 terms out of the first term. Then out of the second term, keep this as constant and differentiate df by dy. We will get d square f by dy square into e power minus y square by 2. Next term, keep df by dy as constant and differentiate this minus y square by 2. You will have minus y into e power minus y square by 2. So these 5 terms together form d square f by d square psi by dy square, and this you have to substitute here. This you have to substitute here. Okay. This is simplified further. This is d square f by dy square is only one term. There is one term that is common to all the 5 terms. Exponential minus y square by 2, 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 exponential minus y square by 2. Take it out. And then go to the highest differential, d square f by dy square. Then go to the df by dy term. How many terms? There are 2 similar terms. Minus y df by dy, exponential minus y square by 2, minus y df by dy. So taking these 2 terms together, you can write minus 2y df by dy is exponential minus y square by 2. And finally you have these terms which don't have any differential, minus f exponential minus y square by 2 plus f y square. F is common to this, so if you take f is common, you will have y square minus 1, y square minus 1. So you will get something like this, and this has to be substituted in which place? In this equation, d square psi by dy square, and this psi, instead of psi you have to substitute what? F into exponential minus y square by 2. If you do these substitutions, you will get something like this. Now simplifying this, that is exponential minus y square by 2 here, exponential minus y square by 2 here. Take that as common. Instead you have d square f by dy square minus 2y df by dy. Here you have y square minus y square minus 1. Here you have alpha by beta minus y square. So y square minus 1 plus alpha by beta minus y square, plus alpha by beta minus y square, and plus y square minus 1 square will cancel. This will become alpha by beta minus 1. That is what you get here, alpha by beta minus 1 into, of course, f is taken as a common factor, into exponential minus y square by 2. So when you have x some u into v equal to 0, this whole term is u and this term is v. Either u can be 0 or v can be 0, any one of this. First we are going to say why this cannot be 0. Y exponential minus y square by 2 cannot be 0. We have written here since this is not visible, I am erasing this part here. Exponential minus y square by 2 becomes 0 only at infinity. How does it? We will see. Exponential minus y square by 2 is 1 by exponential y square by 2 at infinity. When y tends to infinity, you will have 1 by exponential infinity, and this will become 1 by infinity, and 1 by infinity is 0. So this will become 0 when only when y becomes infinity, and this will not happen. When if you say that y becomes infinity, the bond breaks. The distance between the two atoms becomes infinity. So this cannot be only at infinity, and so the other term u is taken as 0, and you will have something like this. And this equation 30, d square f by dy square minus 2y df by dy plus alpha by beta minus 1 f equal to 0 is known as Hermite differential equation. And we have to solve this equation now. That is what we are going to look at in the rest of the derivation. This is solved using a method known as method of polynomial. Let us see how the method of polynomial works. F can be expressed as power series in y. A0 some coefficient plus a1 y. a1 is a coefficient of y power 1. a0 is a coefficient of y power 0, because y power 0 is 1. a0 into 1. a1 is a coefficient of y power 1. a2 is the coefficient of y power 2. a3 is the coefficient of y power 3, and so on. Remember that as of now we have put plus dot dot dot. If you put dot dot dot, that means infinite. Actually the wave function has to be finite. So this approximation we will do at a later stage. At the time we will recall that we are referring here to an infinite series. Now I will tell you what we have to do. We have an equation for f. From this, what we need is a term for df by dy, a term for d square f by dy square. We already have a term for f, and substitute this here. That is what we are going to do. So f is equal to, now df by dy is equal to, what will happen? A naught is a constant. If a constant differentiate a constant, that will become 0. Then a1 into y, if you differentiate y, it will become 1. So if I to start with a1 plus y square, if you differentiate, it will become 2y, 2a2y. Y cube, if you differentiate, it will become 3y square, 3a3y square, and so on. This is what you will get, and this is what we get here. So what we have found out is df by dy. So what we know now is, we know f, we know df by dy. What should we know? We should know d square f by dy square. For that we have to differentiate this df by dy again. If we differentiate this, we will get, if we differentiate a1, it will become 0. If we differentiate 2a2y, if we differentiate y, it will become 1. So 1 into 2, a2. If we differentiate y square, it will become 2 into y. So 2 into 3, a3y. Plus if we differentiate y cube, will get 3y square. So 3 into 4, a4 y square, and so on. This is what you get here. Now you have a term for d square f by dy square, you have a term for df by dy, you have a term for f. Substitute all these terms in the Hermite differential equation, that is equation 30. Instead of d square f by dy square, you substitute a series. Instead of df by dy, you substitute a series. Instead of f, you substitute another series, and you will get something like this. Now here you have a2 plus a3y, a4y square, a power series in y. Here also you have a1y plus y square plus y cube plus y power 4, power series. But there is one y outside here, so multiply that y also inside. That is what you do first, and if we multiply this, we will get something like this. That is, this is 2y into a1, 2a1 into y. This is 2 into 2, a2 into y square. You have y, this we have y here, this will become y square. 2 into 2, a2 into y square. This is 2 into 3, a3 into y square, and so on, and we'll get something like this. 2 into 1, the second term has become like this. Now what you have to do is, remember we have only a constant and no y. That means this is y power 0, because y power 0 is 1. So what you have to do is, I'll just, the next thing is, take all the coefficients of y power 0. This is y power 0 because there is no y. There is no y power 0 here. This is y power 1, this is y power 2, y power 3. Here you have y power 0. Take the coefficient of y power 0 alone. And if you take the coefficient of y power 0 alone, you will get 1 plus 2a2, 1 plus 2a2 plus alpha by beta minus 1 a naught. And we have put this equal to 0 because remember, you have a series a naught x, a naught y power 0 plus a1 y plus a2 y square, etc. And if this is equal to 0, one way in which it is 0, it becomes 0 is if you add all the terms are zeros. This will become 0 when a0 is 0. This will become 0 when a1 is 0. This will become 0 when a2 is 0. And if you add all these things, this will also become 0. So when all the coefficients becomes equal to 0, then this equation right hand side will become equal to 0. Satisfied if the coefficient of each power of y is equal to 0. Now we go to the power of y power 1. This is y power 1. So what do you have for here? 2 into 3 a3, y power 1 here minus 2 into 1 a1, y power 1 here alpha by beta minus 1 a1. You take them together, 2 into 3 a3 plus minus 2 into 1 a1, 2 into 1 a1 plus alpha by beta minus 1, alpha by beta minus 1 into a1y into a1. This is equal to 0. Similarly, the coefficient of y2 will be equal to something like that. And in general, if you read coefficient of y power k, the coefficient of y power k will be equal to, just look at this. It's not very difficult. Just look at it. Here, instead of 1, you have what? K. So instead of 1, k. When you have 1, you have 2 here. That means 1 plus 1. If you have k here, you will have k plus 1. When you have 1 here, you have 3. 3 is 1 plus 2. So if you have k here, this will be k plus 2. When you have 1 here, you have a3 here. When you have k here, a1 3 1 plus 2. So if you have k here, you have k plus 2, ak plus 2 plus alpha by beta minus 1 into 2 into, when we have 1 here, you find 1 here. If you have k here, you have k here, so minus 2k. If you have 1 here, you find a1, and so if you have k here, you will find ak, and this is what you get. Now rearrange this. Take this second term to the right hand side, and from this you get a term for a into ak plus 2. You will get something like this, because you take this to the right hand side, and this is a product, so when it is taken to the right hand side, that will become a, it will go to the denominator, and you get something like this. Now earlier I told, hope you remember what I told earlier. In the series we have always put dot dot dot. When we say put dot dot dot, that means the series is infinite. But a wave function has to be finite, continuous and single value. It means it has to end somewhere. If it has to end somewhere, the coefficient has to become 0. That is the condition which you are going to apply now. But before that, I will talk something about this equation. This equation is known as recursion formula. This equation is known as recursion formula. And why we call this as recursion formula? I will tell you something about it. If you know A0, using this formula you can find out A0 plus 2, and that will be A2. If you know A1, using this formula you can find out A1 plus 2, that is A3. If you know A2, you can find out A2 plus 2, that is A4. So if you know the coefficient of one term, you can find out the coefficient of some other term. That is why it is known as recursion equation. If the polynomial has to be finite at one stage, this should become 0. The coefficient should become 0. The term will become 0. With that, the series will end. For it to be 0, the numerator on this equation has to be 0. When the numerator in this equation is 0, ak plus 2 will become equal to 0. That happens when k is equal to n. The numerator becomes 0, and you get, when y tends to infinity, f tends to infinity. To be finite, the coefficient of the term must be 0. Coefficient is 0 when the numerator in equation 30 is 0. When k is equal to n, see, alpha minus beta minus 1 minus, instead of k write n, minus 2n equal to 0. If you take alpha, you have alpha beta on the left hand side and take the remaining terms to the right hand side, we will find alpha beta is equal to 2n plus 1, where n is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. And this is where you find the quantization concept entering the derivation for the first time. This is an important equation, equation 36. Alpha by beta is equal to 2n plus 1. Still we have not got the solution for f. Remember, that's what we need. And the solution of f is given by what is known as Hermite polynomial. The equation I told is known as Hermite differential equation, and the solution for the equation is known as Hermite polynomial h and y. H and y is nothing but f. Remember, h and y and f are one and the same, and this h and y, the generating function for h and y is given by this equation. H and y is equal to minus 1 power n exponential y square dn e power minus y square by dy power n. This is the generating function for Hermite polynomial. There is a question, what is Hermite polynomial? Then you have to write this equation. Now let us see how we can use this equation. When n is equal to 0, minus 1 power 0 exponential y square d0 by dy 0. That means d power 0 by dy power 0 is nothing but 1. There is no differentiation done. So this is e exponential y square, this is e power minus y square. So e power y square into e power minus y square will be equal to e power y square minus y square, and it will be equal to e power 0. And e power 0 is equal to 1. And so the whole term becomes 1. And net result, there is h0y term when n is equal to 0 is 1. Next we will see n is equal to 1. If you take n is equal to 1, this will become minus 1 power 1 d1 by dy power 1. That is d by dy. Minus 1 power 1 is minus 1. Here I will write this minus 1. This will be exponential y square, and this will be minus 2y into exponential minus y square. So minus into minus will be plus. Exponential y square into exponential minus y square is 1. I have seen it earlier. And so minus into minus is plus, and it will be plus 2y. It will be plus 2y. That is what we have written here. as 2y. Likewise, we can find out n is equal to 2, n is equal to 3, etc. The next thing is, for n is equal to 2, the result which we get is minus 2 plus 4y square. And I think we have to concentrate on one particular factor here. When it is 0, there is no y term at all. That means the highest term is y power 0. It's 1. When n is equal to 1, the highest term is y power 1. When n is equal to 2, the highest term is y power 2. The highest term is y power 3. So when n is equal to 3, the highest term will be y power 3. This is what we should remember. The other thing we can go to the next step. This is h&y. This is not the complete solution. For getting the complete solution, you have to recall. The earlier equation. Psi is equal to f into exponential minus y square by 2. This is the exponential minus y square by 2 we have. Instead of f, if I have n into h and y. That is normalization constant, n into h and y. And h and y is a generating function which we saw just now. H and y is Hermite polynomial, 37. Depending upon the value of n, we will have different values, h0y, h1y, etc. If it is h0y, it will be 1. If it is h1y, it will be 2, and so on. And there will be a value for normalization constant n. And if you substitute all these things, we find psi, and this will be the value of eigenfunction for the equation. And if you remember that alpha by beta is equal to 2n plus 1, also remember y is equal to x root beta. And when n is equal to 0, it will be 2 into 0 plus 1. And so this will be 1. Alpha by beta is 1. When n is equal to 1, it will be 2 into 1 plus 1. 2 plus 1 will be 3. And next is for hn y, when n is equal to 0, we saw that h0y is 1, and when n is equal to 1, it is 2y. That we saw on the earlier page. h0y is 1 and h1y is 2y. And if you substitute these terms here, you have normalization constant n, which I have written as n0, exponential minus y square by 2, because this value is 1, h and y is 1. Normalization constant I have written as n1 when n is equal to 1. h and y is 2y, so 2y into e power minus y square by 2. This column gives the value in terms of x instead of y. So remember, y is equal to x root beta, and so you will get y square is equal to beta a square. Y square is equal to beta a square. So here instead of y, write x root beta. Yes. And after that, here instead of y square, you write beta a square. So you will get beta a square by 2. And this is how we get it. There will be a term for the normalization constant n. Now what we are going to do is the shape of the curves which we get for psi or n is equal to 0. The middle of the curve here is the equilibrium position. That means displacement is 0. If you go in this direction, there is plus up to plus infinity theoretically, and in this direction up to minus infinity theoretically. So left is negative, right is positive. We will see how we get this shape. When n is equal to 0, the equation is n0 exponential minus y square by 2. In the middle, y is equal to 0. When y is equal to 0, n0 into exponential n0 by exponential y square by 2. You can write like this. Instead of minus, you have written plus. When y is equal to 0, this will be n0 by exponential 0. Exponential 0 is 1. So n0 will be a positive quantity. It will be a positive quantity, and that is why at y is equal to 0, you find positive quantity. This is above this line, so it is positive. In the right side, you go up to plus infinity. In the left side, you go up to minus infinity. So when you go to plus infinity, instead of y, you will get infinity. So this will become exponential infinity. That in term is infinity. So you will get psi equal to phi 0 is equal to n0 by infinity at plus infinity. Anything by infinity is 0. Similarly, at minus infinity also, when y is minus infinity, you will have y square, and so y square will always be positive, and so this will become e power infinity, and e power infinity is infinity, and so this will become 0, and that is what you get. When y is equal to 0, it is as a positive value. At the infinite values, it becomes a negative value. Whole thing is positive value. You take the square of it, that is also positive. Next, if you look at the psi 1 equation, the psi 1 equation is n1 into 2y into exponential minus y square by 2. That I will write here. n1 into 2y into exponential minus y square by 2. When y is equal to 0, the whole thing will become 0, because this is 0, because this is 0. So at the equilibrium position, the middle of the curve, we will find that 0 in the middle of the curve, because y is 0, and because y is 0, this term will also become 0. The value of psi will also become 0, because you have 2y. When y becomes 0, this becomes 0. The other end, when it becomes plus infinity, this will go to the bottom. This will become e power infinity. Anything by infinity is 0. Minus infinity also, this will become 0. So at the extremes you find 0, but in between, whenever you have positive value 2y, this will be positive, and whenever you have negative value, this will be negative. And so what you will have is something like this. In the middle you have 0, and to the right you have positive values, and so this is also positive because you have 2y, and this side, left side, is negative because you have 2y. When y is negative, this is also negative. At the end, when y is infinity, this becomes 0, and when y is minus infinity also, this becomes 0. When you take psi square, square of positive is positive, square of negative is also positive, and you will get something like that. Similarly, for n is equal to 2, you find a graph like this, and so on. Now, the other thing you can find out is find out the number of nodes. Nodes are the places where psi square becomes 0 in between. For example, this value is 0. This is 0. This is 0. This is 0. They become 0 then extremes. We don't need this. They do not become a 0 in the between. So when n is equal to 0, there are no nodes. When n is equal to 1, there is one point at which it becomes 0, central point, and so that becomes one node. When n is equal to 2, at this point it becomes 0, at this point also it becomes 0, this point, and so there are two nodes, and this is the equation for psi, and this is the graph for psi square, the probability distribution function psi square. Next, we have already assumed that alpha by beta is equal to 2n plus 1. Alpha is equal to 8 pi square me by s square. Beta is equal to 4 pi square m nu by s square. And we also know the equation 36, which I will write here once again for the reference. Alpha by beta is equal to 2n plus 1. I told that this equation is an important equation. Alpha by beta is equal to 2n plus 1. Alpha is equal to 8 pi square m by u by s square. Beta is equal to 4 pi square m nu by h. And if you substitute these two things, 8 by 4 is 2. Pi square will cancel. Pi square will cancel. 8 4 will become 2. M will cancel. H, and here you find s square, so one of the s will cancel. This will become 2e by h nu. 2e by h nu is equal to 2n plus 1. E is equal to, if you take the other side, h nu, and divide by 2, E is equal to n plus half into h nu. This will be the eigenvalue equation for harmonic oscillator. This will be the eigenvalue equation for harmonic oscillator. Now we are going to find out what happens when n is, I will write the formula here, n plus half h nu, n plus half h nu. When n is 0, 0 plus half h nu. When n is 1, 1 plus half h nu. 2, 2 plus half h nu. 3, 3 plus half h nu. When n is equal to 0, the energy is not 0. 0 plus half h nu is half h nu. This is what is known as E0, and this is what is known as 0 point energy. The 0 point energy is not 0 when n is equal to 0 in the case of harmonic oscillator, but it has a finite value of h nu. This is the 0 point energy for harmonic oscillator. This 1 plus half is 3 by 2, 2 plus half is 5 by 2, 3 plus half is 7 by 2. Now, to find out the difference between 1 and 2, this is E1 and E0. You can see 3 by 2 h nu minus 1 by 2. 3 by 2 minus 1 by 2 is 1. By looking at this, you can easily do this minus this is half h nu will cancel. You have only h nu left out. Similarly, take the difference between these two values, E1, E2. 5 by 2 minus 3 by 2 is 1 h nu. Half h nu will be cancelled. 2 minus 1 is 1. So the energy level difference is 1. Similarly, E4 minus E3 is 1. So all these values are coming out to be h nu. That means the spacing between the different energy levels is uniform spacing in the case of harmonic oscillator. Uniform spacing. The spacing is not non-uniform. In the case of particle in a box, the spacing was not uniform, whereas in the case of harmonic oscillator, the spacing is uniform. Now we can draw the energy levels like this. When n is equal to 0 of h nu, 3 by 2 h nu, 5 by 2 h nu, 7 by 2 h nu. Levels are uniformly spaced. The difference is always h nu. All wells are equally spaced. We have discussed about how the eigenfunction and the eigenvalue for an harmonic oscillator are derived. Thank you.